Yeah, we're gonna.
No, that corner, everything. Oh, man. I need a pen. Thank you.
There's multiple if you'd like a different one.
No, I'm not gonna be fussy. It's your pen choice. Bigger printed features. All right, meeting will come to order.
701.
And this is any revisions or additions to the agenda? Seeing none, our first item of old business is permit number 24-402 Callahan Butler of South 116 road, parcel number 110-141-001, requesting preliminary plat approval for a 3-lot subdivision subject to the Bristol Unified Development regs. Well, this is not preliminary.
Well, it is. The original application was for
Because
a
they changed.
4 lot,
Yeah, that was.
but it dropped down to a 3 lot.
Okay,
So
so it's all right.
it was,
Well. No, we gotta figure, I mean. It's not gonna be a 2-lot hearing. Or a 2-hearing proposal if it's only 3 lots.
My apologies.
Right?
yeah.
You're going to be part of the meeting, or you're going to sit in the.
I'm happy to let you go on.
So there's 3 or more for minor. We have a lot of. Bing bang bongs too.
Maybe it's the bear again.
So subdivision is 3 new lots, is a
Two new-
major.
Yeah.
Is a major and less than 3 new lots, so three total is a minor, which requires only 1 hearing.
3 lots total is a minor,
It's a minor,
because you're making 2 lots, because it's 2 lots you're taking off of it.
no, you end up with 3 lots,
Okay,
you don't take them off of it.
well, they're,
I mean, there's 3 lots after this is said and done.
yeah,
The original lot disappears,
it's like that.
so. So how is it warned, as a preliminary?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Meters, yeah.
Okay. Well. I guess we'll decide. We'll hear from you when we're done with the applicant, decide what we do next.
That's what I figured would be the procedure, as it is a change in the application from the original, even though it's dropping down in classification.
Yeah.
I've
Yep.
for the
You
board
know,
to
it's kind
decide
of
that.
It's kind of a square peg in a round hole. All right, so we're in RA1, right?
Yes.
Wait for the applicant.
Callahan.
Wanna pull up closer and take us through your application? Okay, so. So what we're looking at is this the right drawing
Yes.
now? So what's before us is the subdivision survey around the rows dated. Originally dated August 29, 2024, revised March 31, 2025. It now shows 2 lots here. You're retaining. You're carving them off this 176 acre lot, right?
This is
I suppose, we always consider this across the road, but I guess it is conjoined with the other side now.
Well,
It's continuous ownership,
this-
but they're two separate parcels.
Yeah,
oh. I've forgotten that, so,
this isn't, this is 22 acres in total, and then you've got my house site that's been carved out of it. And these,
well,
so I think it's 18 acres after.
what's the existing lot as we sit here today?
22.
22 acres.
Right, I know, but on the survey, I'm trying to figure out what the existing boundaries are prior to drawing subdivision lines.
Oh. So this is Bob Henley's here, so this would be the property line here.
So everything
Everything you see here, other than this,
to the brook?
yes,
Okay. So the Henley house jogs out a little bit. Yours in there. Okay,
yes.
so RA5,
RA1.
RA1. We've got 10,000 square foot minimum lot size, so we're okay there. You got lot 1 is 1.5 acres, lot 2 is 1.5. Which leaves a balance remaining of 19 acres. On the retained land. we'll call it. Okay, so. I remember some of this from the first time around. We've got a house in the middle of the road.
Is that the way that's right now? It says 19 acres plus or minus.
The remaining, yeah,
Yeah, because it's 22,
minus
It
3.
is 20, okay.
give or take. But close, it's above the 2 new lots are well above the minimum lot.
Right,
size, so we're
right.
okay there, but. Remind me what's going on with the house that's in the middle of the proposed right of way and it looks like an outbuilding as well.
If we do, when we do decide to do something with these lots, that trailer will be moved. No longer be using it.
Is someone in it now?
No.
Okay, what's the other little building just to the south of it?
Oh, that's an old sugar house.
Okay. What's the claim to that?
An old sugar house. Just there.
Well.
Or the
so it's
building
gonna
south.
stay,
Oh, I've got no plans to move it unless
but
it was to interfere with the sale or something and somebody.
but it's in your right of way.
The little shed to the south of the mobile home.
Oh, sorry, I was looking at the sugar house further off. Yeah, the shed will be removed as well.
Okay. So to talk to the fire chief yet about the driveway and having I see an emergency vehicle turnaround, is that after talking to Brett LaRose?
Yep.
Does he give you a letter or something?
Ron actually had him do this. So no, I did not speak to him personally, but Ron did.
Is there a letter?
Not that I had, no.
Okay, well, you can get it.
Good.
Um. So. Lot 1, lot 2, both gonna be residential? Single family residential?
Yes.
Or, and what's the story with wastewater and water supply?
I don't have the plans for that. Ron had. Done all of that.
Well, what's gonna happen? They're gonna have.
More,
They got their own lots and
Yes.
wells on their own lots?
yes. Yeah.
Have you already applied or not yet?
No.
Alright. Well, anybody on the board have any other questions?
You talked about a cattle code.
Yes, Vermont Trans, originally when we had the 3 lots, they wanted the driveway to go where that cattle gate is.
I, like on this map here, where,
So the cattle gate would be, it'd be halfway in between, pretty much in between the 2 driveways. To where this trailer driveway is, where the proposed lots are in my driveway, the gate is about halfway in between.
okay,
So when we were to be doing more lots, they would have wanted it over here, since we bumped it back to
okay,
the way it is here.
So you
You got to keep the driveway where it is.
have an existing highway access permit from AOT?
Yes.
Okay, so that'll just stay the same.
Yep.
Okay.
And if you had one more lot, you'd have to move it.
So this is as many lots as will be allowed on this driveway.
How long's that? How long's the driveway? From the road to out to. Lot 2,
Oh, probably 500 feet.
and does the roadway actually exist that far along, or do you have to extend it?
No, the roadway goes right to where that shed is next to the trailer.
Okay. So, wondering, one of the things we have to think about in subdivision is stormwater. And the standards are pretty low now for triggering that. And I think. I think it's 0.3 acres now. Times 43. 16. So you think it's how long? How long's the driveway, you think, ultimately?
500 feet. But haven't put a tape on it, but
Yeah, I know.
my
I
estimate.
understand.
I'd say it's actually a little more, because we've got
Yeah,
198 for this first lot, then 345, 345.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's going about halfway.
right, but then
through
it's
that
going,
second
but
one.
then it's going into the lots too.
Yep.
So. I don't know whether you're gonna have to get a stormwater permit lot or not. For that road, cause making a road, any kind of road, gravel or otherwise, is impervious area. And the tripwire, you know, is a lot less than it used to be. How it works out with. You've got a part of it's an existing road that probably predates the stormwater regulations, I don't know. So we had a subdivision just recently, where one of the conditions was you gotta get a stormwater permit. From the state of Vermont, or a letter saying you don't need one. Now, it might be that you don't need one, but it's probably pretty close, because they. Measure impervious area, and that's roadway, roofs, things like that, you don't have the new buildings yet, so. I just don't know, maybe you squeak by and you show them what you're doing and your plans, and they say you don't need one. You give that, that'd be part of the letter, if you need one, you need one.
Yeah.
Is it pretty level, or is it sloped, or,
It's sloped a little bit.
so it's kind the back
It'd be
half?
high
gets-
side on the, it's
on the
high
east.
to the east, and
Yeah.
it kind of grades down to the west.
Does it go back down to
And
that
then
brook?
it's in the back of this lot, yes, it
Back-
tapered back down towards
Drops
the brook.
down, okay,
It's pretty gravelly, stony ground.
yeah, I'm sure it perks really well.
Sure it is.
Um. Any other questions from the board?
Just a question for you, Mr. Chairman, is it ever done that there's this is a preliminary plat review, is like. Can we,
That's
So-
one of the issues.
yeah, right, I heard that earlier, but that actually inspired the question, can we as a board approve something subject to, say, state approval for septic or what have you, right?
Well, they have to meet that anyway.
Right, but if they don't, for whatever reason, does the subdivision permit?
Depends on
Go
what we
invalid?
depends on what we put in the conditions. We tend not to condition all the other things one has to comply with, but. We have frequently noted that the permits have been applied for. You're not doing anything as far as development without a wastewater and water supply permit, or just, But it doesn't. I don't remember exactly what our subdivision regs say about that, but it could be a condition.
And so for a preliminary plat review, we're just looking at it the first time and,
That's the ultimate issue here.
the rub.
Yeah, we want to hear from these folks. And preliminary plat review, yeah, we can suggest things to, but it ultimately. Things like other permits are gonna be part of the final permit as conditions over now. This one's just a little. Unusual in that we had a sketch plan review and. And it was-
Changed.
And then it changed and. So we'll hear from these folks in a sec. Anyway. I mean, one of the conditions would have to be you gotta move that trailer, cause it can't be in the right of way.
Yep, that's fine.
Um,
Part of the plan.
and so you would have to also deed. The right of way to lot one and lot two, the right of way would need to be deeded to them. As part of the deed conveying the lot. Any other questions for the applicant?
No.
Hi, folks, tell us who you are, I don't remember.
Jeff Carter, Dan Carter,
Yep,
we own the property directly south of this.
oh, I see you, yep, okay, you have a question or comment?
Yes, comments.
Okay,
First a comment from Mrs. Henley, who owns that house there.
yeah,
She called me and couldn't be here because she's out of town on family business. But her question to me was, is this gonna affect her well? The new wells being drilled, would it affect her well? So that was her.
well, should the wastewater permit, you have, the water supply permit, you have to be certain, there's isolation distances.
But I wanted to voice that. She
Yeah,
couldn't
good.
get here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And-
Yeah, so that's where that part works, if it's state of Vermont consumer.
But that was for her.
Yep.
Now for me.
Yep.
Is I do have, now that preliminary review, you tabled that, so it didn't ever happen. Now this here is the preliminary
We
review.
had a sketch plan,
Yeah, you had a sketch plan,
and then
but you
the,
tabled it,
then nobody showed up for the
right, so
first
you
hearing.
tabled it.
Yeah.
And so now this is a sketch plan on a 2 lot
Well,
subdivision, or
Yeah.
3 lot.
I guess it comes down to if you wanna come, you wanna have another hearing.
Well, I'm not clear if there's gonna be another.
Well, I think it depends on what you think, your balls in, frankly, I think in your court on that, and it's not really, this was an unclear thing for AZ. For anybody to figure out how does it get warned. Because it's, could be either way, but it said, for better or worse, it said preliminary, I don't necessarily think it needed to be, but if you folks
Whatever.
wanna have round two.
No, I wanna be clear what's gonna happen, so we can tell Mrs. Henley what's gonna happen. Cause I had told her about this was preliminary, and if there'd be another.
Yeah, well, that's what preliminary things to me.
Okay, now, as far as we're concerned, we do own that property directly south.
Yep.
And, I do have a plan that Kevin Rose put together for.
You live on it? Is it your
No, we do
residence?
not.
Okay,
We came before this board to have the 2 lot subdivision. And we did the preliminary review on that.
okay,
Um,
so what's it now, it's just open land right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, there's a building on it. And we're gonna subdivide that into 2 lots.
Yeah.
And build a house on the back lot. My concern is where the placement of the wells are gonna be. Cause I have a copy of what Kevin Rose put together for preliminary layout of septic and wells
Mm-hmm.
for the original 3 lots. And they have a wellhead protection zone that extends over halfway across our property. Which then forced us to change our plans. Kevin Rose already did a plan for us many years ago to have a house up there,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's put in wells that preclude that. That one wellhead protection extended 160 feet over on our property. Our property is 223 feet wide.
Yep.
I think that's gonna be gone because now he's gone to 2 divisions instead of
Yeah,
3.
so it's gonna be a new wastewater, or water supply from it.
Right, and the wastewater, state wastewater permit guy was out there when we were digging wells and test pits on our land. And he said, oh yeah, he'd make sure that the 2 different properties don't interfere with each other. And that would be my concern.
Sure.
We've already had to flip flop our plans because of where they're placing the wells so close to our property.
So the,
Now, was Ron gonna work together with whoever was planning on yours? He said they were gonna work together and try to make them. So everybody,
It's Kevin LaRose, his name.
okay,
Kevin LaRose is the one who did our original pits for the house years and years ago that we couldn't do. that we had still planned to do, I retired. So I just wanna make sure that there's some recognition that we have a project going in.
Do you
Right
have-
there,
you don't have your water supply permit yet.
no, cause we're waiting to see what these guys are gonna do.
Well, I would hope that Kevin and Ron would make it work for the both of us, cause I sure don't wanna interrupt anything you guys are doing. Either.
How come, I just wanna know, Callahan, you have all that land, why did you do it so close, right behind the Henleys and right now? What was
Oh,
the
because
reasoning?
we had an existing driveway there and that was off the side of the property and pretty much all the property on the farm is all farmland. It's all cropland. Cropland and gullies and,
Not on this 22 acres. Sugar bush.
yeah, well, I just. Seemed like a good place to do it.
So,
But mostly for us, it's, no, we don't like having the neighbors that close,
sure,
but this thing about, where the wells are being placed. I'm hoping that LaRose can reconfigure that so that it's not overlapping half of our property with the well.
depends on a lot of factors, including production capacity of the well.
But the buffer zones, they are what they are, and kind of my understanding on it, it's a first come, first serve on that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't wait on it.
yeah, the,
What?
it's interesting.
So we're gonna work together with them to make sure that. we're
Yeah,
not stepping-
but it's the state of Vermont that
Yeah.
will,
Right, so Dale's right,
Yeah.
it's something we don't
it's
have
first,
any control over because it's state wastewater and water supply regs.
Well, this is the only opportunity we've had to have conversation with
I
Callahan
understand, I'm
in the
just,
same room, so that's why I'm saying it now.
yeah, I understand, I just want you to know that we don't control it.
yeah.
We've had
That's
zero regulatory control over that, it's the state of Vermont program.
You're working with Bernard and Gervais for this current subdivision, correct? They're aware of Callahan's subdivision with Kevin, or with Ron. At this point, so,
They're aware of the first one with three lots, I'm not sure they're aware of the second one. So
Okay.
I'll be talking to him, I'm sure he gets.
Yeah.
But this is,
So
there's
Ron and Kevin definitely are, cause that was half the thing, they were everybody was trying to make it work, so. It worked for everybody.
I couldn't tell you how much, it's a technical,
right,
it's driven by technical matters, in the appendix of the water supply rules. It used to be, that you didn't get any of this from whoever got their water supply permit first, but. And a wastewater permit, it had the isolation zones, and that was that, and they don't. Have anything to be a problem with, so it could be a real problem, so it's small, a lot bigger.
can be, yeah.
So you could have the case.
Well, so with our mind, he's got 22 acres there. He doesn't need to put wells 50 feet off their property line.
I get it.
Well, the thing with the buffer zones, not only does the well have a big buffer zone, the septic systems will have a big buffer zone also, so those all have to kind of, and if it doesn't work, then. You won't,
Well, but,
somebody won't be getting a state permit.
I mean, well, he's right, but then your well doesn't have to be on your site, on your property either, so anyway. Nowadays, you get, as a result of the case that my firm had, you get notice at least of the preliminary plans from the applicant. The engineering plan, so that you can at least. Doesn't say what your rights actually are in the event of a conflict, but you can at least get in there and say, wait a second, we've got this or that, or that,
You know,
well, doesn't show that.
the only rights you have is to go to the Vermont Environmental Court,
Well,
and I'm not doing that.
no, your rights are to be in contact with the Rutland office, guy who's ever dealing with it, Chris Townsend or whoever it is, to make sure that they have full information about what's already on your site, and if you already had a permit, you already had a permit, but there's now some process at the administrative regulatory level, where there didn't used to be any. That's my point, so you gotta get your information in there, make sure it's on board, with the regulator, because before they wouldn't know necessarily, so it's not it's better than it was, it's not perfect, but better than it was. Do you have any other questions?
No.
Well, folks.
Well, no, our only question is there gonna be another meeting,
we're gonna figure that out.
that'll be.
So it's been warned, um. As a preliminary. And I don't know that there's a. Good way around that if people aren't on board with that. And you've got a lady who wasn't, we've got a neighbor who wasn't here.
It wasn't able to come.
And
I'm
like,
assuming she already has a permit for that
I
well.
guess some.
Somewhere,
Yeah, if there's a W with a
And then
circle.
people-
I know.
Yes.
4 people were warned.
It's up there with.
Somewhere Carter.
Oh, so she had all this, yes.
So 4 people were warned.
What's that?
Oh,
So
yes,
I was just thinking, like, out of 4 people that are warned, we know for a fact that 3 of them definitely got a chance to, at least, Henley got to send her message through you. I'm here, you guys are here. The only neighbors that we didn't hear from are Sumner,
Mhm.
in terms of people that have been warned, so
But on the other hand,
I don't feel like we shorted somebody out of an opportunity.
if we sort out a lot of things tonight, the hearing ought not to be too long.
Correct.
It would give the neighbors a chance to sort
Yeah.
out the wells and tell us about them and for this woman to come in, Mrs. Henley to come in and talk if she wants. Cause and that will get rid of anybody arguing over the preliminary bit.
My sense is that. Even though it's a pain in the rear end, it's a mistake to. Try to paper over. A warning that, if it said preliminary and you're sowing in error. Or potentially so, if you. All of a sudden move to, oh, this was not preliminary, it was the one and only, I mean, it just. Chances are nothing's different at the next one, but I think we'd be. Potentially inviting trouble, as would the applicant if we were to,
Vote on it tonight.
yeah, I think so, I mean.
So maybe he should be getting the permit from the,
Wastewater permit, I mean,
no, the letter from Kevin LaRose.
Brett, from the.
Or Brett, yeah.
Yeah, no, right, no, that would be good, that way we don't have to, it's gonna be a condition. It'll be in, assuming there's an approval, it'll be in there as a requirement, but. That would be helpful to have, and Brett's done a number of these lately, so he's sort of.
Yeah, it's not,
He has
it's not a hard
he
thing.
has a template down. And then, that he's seen the plan and has approved it, and that way it's in the file. Goes to AC as file and everybody knows what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, I can do that.
And so how soon can you warn?
And
Um,
also, we'll probably have another hearing along with it anyway, unless it's, not take up too much time.
Yeah, well, right, unless there's. If there's nothing scheduled at the next available. Meeting date where. We have. Time to warn. Then you can do that if ever, I think all you have to do is get a hold of, get a letter from the fire chief. And give that to us. It's just, this is kind of sticky and just. I think we can get to final pretty quickly, but I'm. Hesitant about saying, oh, well, it was warned preliminary and let's just make it the one and only. It just asking for it.
Yeah.
And you don't wanna ask for it.
And also is the septic areas,
We're not gonna,
and they don't seem to be marked on here,
we're not gonna know, but yeah.
but so that there could be some sort of preliminary work there, so that the neighbors are not stepping on each other, like.
Yeah, but we don't have any control.
No.
No, but,
That's- they-
We can put it in as a condition, which is true anyway.
but,
It'd be nice if we could do something to where it worked for both of us and nobody was stepping on anybody's toes.
Sure.
yeah, and they would have some time to work it out before the next hearing, is all I was saying.
I don't know how all this works, but I mean, you shadow one way, shadow the other, I'd be happy to shadow mine further on our own property rather than. On the neighbors, but
Yeah.
I don't know a whole lot about.
No, it's but Kevin does, or John does, and you can always be talking to the guy.
As far as I
down the road.
understood, they were supposed to shadow everything so that both projects would go forward with no issues.
Yeah, and I just don't. we don't know the technicalities to be able to, give insight one way or the other on that and.
Well, maybe by then we can have this sorted
Honestly,
out,
we
so
don't know how.
won't be an issue.
Would,
In terms of warning, I would be able to do June 24th. Get the warning in on Monday. But if that seems like too short a time, we can go into end of July because I know you'll be gone beginning of July.
Yeah, first, like, second and third week.
Yeah.
Or beginning of July and like, 2.5 weeks or something,
Yeah.
first part of July.
Are you actually taking a vacation?
Yeah, go to Wyoming every year. Doesn't mean I don't bring my laptop and have to work at night, I do. But I'm working in a different place, prettier place,
right.
and not as much, but some.
Do you need
Yeah.
a motion to that effect, or do we just continue this
Well,
to
no.
another hearing?
It's just it'll just be warned since it was already warned as a preliminary. We'd have to have a motion to call it a final, but we're not, we're gonna. Think we're just stick with preliminary.
Could I just ask one question of the
Yeah.
applicant? Your acreage is big enough for each of these proposed lots. I mean, there's nothing hindering the moving around of those wellheads. I mean, it's not like a supply issue. It's all probably all the same amount. There's all water down there, so.
Yeah, I mean, I left it in LaRosa's hands and they did the designing and I didn't really have an opinion on.
Right, so
Where
it sounds like
they're
there's
going.
gonna be some flexibility in locating those wellheads for these proposed sites, and I think if we do continue this, we'll probably hear more next time about that. And it gives you
Well,
all.
as far as I knew, they were supposed to be doing that
Yeah,
anyways.
yeah.
Are you gonna develop the lots or are you gonna just sell those lots?
I'm not sure what we're gonna be doing.
But there's not gonna be trailers there.
No, we actually wanted to put in stipulations on homes. Homes gonna be there. But no trailers, anything like that.
All right, well, anything further from the board? Anything further, questions, comments from you folks? All right, then, we're adjourned on this hearing and AZ will warn the final.
Yep.
And you have a date for that, easy?
It'd be June 24th.
Well,
Is everybody gonna have a forum?
We'll be out of state.
I'll also be away. Not that,
If we can.
Well, we could move it a different date.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't give you a lot of
I
time
mean,
to
if
try
you wanna
to.
meet with
shoot the
Kevin,
chuck.
something like that, make sure everything is.
Jason needs to meet.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, no, I'm not trying to make anybody unhappy here.
You wanna leave it that you'll let AZ know when you're ready to go?
I'm ready as soon as you guys are.
Well.
What was the next?
Whatever
one?
works for everybody.
towards the end of July.
Yeah, it would either be June 24th, the next meeting, that has the proper time for posting notices in the newspaper. And the next date after that would be the July,
20 something, right?
yes, July 22.
Then does AZ know everybody's away schedules for summer? People are on vacation or not around?
You guys-
Email you about that?
Yeah, you can.
Last thing we want to do is schedule a hearing and then have a quorum.
Right.
Y'all filled out my survey, so. I have a,
Sure. Yeah.
In June.
Well, I think the most efficient thing to do is for Jason and Laurel is to get together sooner rather than later, and if it turns out that June 24th is not gonna be, it's gonna be coming too soon,
Yeah.
then let AZ know. Well, you gotta
What's the
get the
latest you can
warning out
know?
on Monday, right?
yeah, the Monday is the date for the warning.
As far as I know, they had already, I mean, when I decided to go with two, they had already worked together and made this work, but I haven't seen anything on paper yet.
Well, how about we leave it this way? You can send the notice out on Monday?
Yeah.
Okay, so unless you have to tell AZ up by Friday. Well, and you talk to Jason too, if everybody needs more time, then fine, let AZ know. And they won't send a warning out and pay for what, whatever it costs, it's not cheap. So, cause yes, it has to be published in the IE.
And I mean, we could jump on a computer and do those.
Sure, yeah. Alright, so,
So June 24th, unless you do otherwise?
Yes.
yeah, so let AZ know by Friday. If the 24th isn't going to be a good day, just if, well, you wanna, AZ, you wanna leave it that, if you don't
Yeah.
hear from them, you're gonna send it out?
Yeah, I'm gonna make the notice and all the documents tomorrow as if it's a June 24th date.
Okay. So you talk to Jason too, and maybe Jason's farther along with little roses, maybe not, I don't know, but. If you think we need more time for your side of it, if you think you need more time for everybody talking, just let AZ know, and we'll do it, otherwise it's going out on Monday. Okay? All right. Next up is.
Appreciate your time, guys.
Thank you very much.
I'll be in touch, Colin.
Thank you.
Talk to your guys. Sooner or later, so
Yeah, as much as I need Brett, talk to Brett and.
then find out if he's been talking to Jason.
Yeah.
That's what really should happen, is we should talk to each other.
I was under the understanding that they were before this was even done.
Well, Kevin already wrong. I think that they were talking about this guy, Jason Barton.
Well, AZ connected the two of them, so they were supposedly working
And
together.
maybe they have, maybe that's gonna
Yeah,
happen.
I'd check that out.
Maybe that dialogue's been going.
Well, I'm gonna stop by and pick up maps and stuff anyway, so.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Alright, well, just let AV know by Friday if that date's not gonna be a good date.
Yep.
Okay?
Oh, good. Thank you.
Thanks,
Alright,
Alan.
so first up. It's the meeting of the 8th. April 8th. So that was me, Rebecca, Ted, John, and Brenda. Everybody's here. Um, So any changes? On. Draft minutes of the 8th. Looks no. Looks good. Okay.
Let's find it.
Alright, I'll move that we approve the. Minutes of April 8th as directed.
Second?
All those in favor? So of the 5 who can vote, 5-0. Next up is the minutes of April 22nd. I had a couple things I saw on this one. First is just at the very bottom of the page, first page, just capitalized unified. On the second page, so we measure we measure from the center line for the front yard setback, right?
Yes.
So. It says it's a side entry porch, I think it's a front entry porch.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it should say. Add center line in front of the street, so.
Okay.
Edge of the new addition, 39 feet 6 inches from the center line of Maple Street. I was gonna
Yep.
put in Maple Street because they live on a corner. And then last that I saw is I outlined the waiver standards, not conditional use standards.
Oh. Yep.
So do you make the changes or do you
I
tell
do.
Carol or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I asked Carol if she wanted me to tell her, and she said, "It's yours."
Yeah, I think that works great. That's a lot more efficient. Anybody see anything else on the minutes of the 22nd? Alrighty, I'll move that we approve the minutes of the 22nd of April with the corrections articulated. All those in favor? Oh, so you need a second?
Second.
Round seconds, all those in favor? Oh, let me remind us who was there. It was me, Rebecca, Dale, John, and Brenda. So that's 5. And all of us are here, so. Rebecca seconded, all those in favor? Aye. So 5-0 on that.
Yay.
We're doing better than sometimes, remember, God, there are times in the past that we struggle for like months and months and months to get the right number, to get the right number of people, the right people here for a forum. So,
Especially when somebody leaves the board.
oh, yeah, no, that's.
Could we, before we adjourn, get an update on the Masterton situation?
No,
No,
Is there something legal going on there? There's no there's
We're
no
not-
notice of violation, right?
hey, no,
Well, I'm just asking,
you can't talk about it in this setting. If you wanna talk to AZ, and you've done it like 4 times, it's wrong. And it creates a conflict of interest for you.
how, is there
See-
some legal thing going on? Is there an appeal?
Talk to AZ.
Is there an appeal?
Talk to AZ.
There's not an appeal, so that
Stop,
doesn't keep
John.
us from talking about it.
John, you've done this multiple times
Well,
now and you keep.
Why
going back.
can't we discuss it?
Because there's nothing on the agenda for us. We only have,
So it's happening in a star chamber? Is there
course
some
not.
deliberation going on?
there's nothing before us now. We're not gonna talk about it.
So we can't talk about it, but is there a?
That's right.
Is there a negotiation between
I
Masterson and
I
Al?
don't know. We're not gonna talk about
Well, that's,
it. Then talk.
that's not a substantive question, it's
You,
just a process.
know.
think of us as a semi-judicial body. And if you are in court
We can talk
and
about
it's not on the docket.
But there's no action.
Somebody
can't-
may,
There's no
We
action.
cannot talk about a case that's not before us yet.
It's,
if it comes before us,
there's no case, so there.
So we can't talk about a case that's not before.
So once we
Yeah,
issue a
it's
permit,
fine.
I'm trying to figure out, we issue a permit and we can never talk about it again?
but not in here. You can go talk to your neighbors about it.
No, I'm seeking information through the official
This
channels
is-
about where that process is at.
The 4th time you've done this before these.
Immaterial,
No, it isn't.
it is.
I'm gonna go to the select board on this.
That's fine.
Right, so you've gotta recuse yourself. We can't be.
From what?
From participating if and when it comes before us. You've already,
I'm just asking a process question about where it stands. That
And
is not a
this-
substantive
and
question.
this board has no interest or jurisdiction to know anything about where it stands. Unless and until it comes before us in a warrant hearing.
So,
It's
so it
just
doesn't
that simple.
stand, so it's not under appeal?
John, you can talk about this after the meeting.
I'm just asking if it's under appeal.
It's just that simple.
Is it under appeal at the state?
Talk to AZ.
Why is that a secret?
It's not a secret, but.
So
it's
is it or is it not under appeal?
All right, John, this.
Well,
And I'm asking, you can say yes and then I'll shut up. If
I,
it's not under appeal, then we can't talk
It
about it,
has
right?
not, the
no,
thing is.
No,
Is,
we
and
can't
there's no notice of violation to
We-
discuss
we
because there
can't-
isn't one,
we
right?
can't, we can only.
Never has been one, so there's no issue
We
there.
can't talk about it until it gets warned and on our plate.
It
It's
has-
just-
So how do we know anything's going on?
We
Because
don't,
not-
we the board don't know.
There's
You,
nothing
you
more-
can, you can talk to AZ
Yeah, has nothing
outside,
more.
outside of this forum.
But if
You
you
do that?
talk to AZ and take a position or advocate something to be happening that you think isn't happening right, you've got to recuse yourself if and when it does come to us.
Let me note for the record that I have only asked process questions tonight. I have not asked anything substantive. I'm asking where it stands, whether there's an appeal, whether there's a notice of violation, and therefore, if there are no appeal and no notice of violation, then I'm curious
Has nothing,
why we can't understand where it stands.
has nothing to do with us.
But why would we even discuss that tonight?
Because we issued a permit to these folks and there was something,
And this is.
Well, you-
Colin,
you-
we cannot talk about this in case it comes before us.
The permit was given and they have gone on their way.
No,
They are
there's-
no
there's-
longer,
There's,
they're
whatever's
out there
happening
somewhere.
is outside our jurisdiction
Come
and
to my office, we can talk.
you can't.
well, thank you very much.
We cannot have ex parte communication about a case that's not before us. We just can't. It's
I
just
understand that, and that's why I keep my questions to process
It
questions.
includes questions of process.
Well, we have to understand
No, we,
if there's
no,
anything happening,
no, we don't.
we the public,
We, then you talk to AZ privately, as I've told you the 4th time now.
very,
4th time you've done this at the board.
thank you.
Has nothing to do with us at the moment.
Thank
They've
All
gone
right,
on.
well,
their
We're gonna
way.
adjourn the meeting.
Sure.
Yes.
Let's second
We
it.
can think about
All
this.
those in favor?
Aye, we're done.